Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of the Driven Shot podcast. My name is Peter Muneme, also known as Barça DNA on Twitter, and I'll be covering the match review between Barcelona and Inter Milan in this year's Champions League semifinal. Let's get to it. All right. So we begin with the semifinal. I believe Inter Milan were coming into this game under a lot of pressure. Of course, they were winless in their last four matches, having drawn against Bayern and lost three straight games in a row. First, of course, to Bologna, then, of course, getting knocked out of the Coppa Italia by AC Milan, losing 3-0, and then losing 1-0 to Roma. Losses that essentially derailed their season domestically. Of course, they are still in the hunt for the Scudetto. They are 3 points behind Napoli with just 2 games to go. And so those losses meant that coming into this game, Inter Milan were under a lot of pressure, essentially trying to salvage their season, whilst Barcelona were coming into this game off the back of a very, very intense Copa del Rey final victory against Real Madrid. Very dramatic. The players spoke about it in length, that it took a lot of energy out of them to play the way they did against Real Madrid and to win. And so coming into this game, there was a semblance that both teams were feeling a little bit tired, perhaps not quite as sharp as they'd like to be for this matchup. And of course, Barca were missing key players in Lewandowski and Balde. But I have to say this, Inter Milan played a wonderful match right from the get-go. They applied themselves perfectly in this game. They were on the front foot. They tried to catch Barcelona off guard in the opening minutes or so, and they did that to perfection. Of course, Marcos Thuram scoring within 30 seconds, a beautiful backheeled finish assisted by Dumfries, who we'll talk about more on later on in this game. He was absolutely fantastic. And Inter Milan, really, they are the best defensive team in the Champions League. Before this point, they'd only conceded 5 goals in the competition. And so really, this was their dream start. This was exactly what they would have wanted coming to the Montjuïc, to get that early goal and to really give them the foundation to sit in and to defend and to play their game. Because that's what they did once they scored. They had a foothold in the game. They could sit back, they could absorb Barca's pressure and then try and strike in transition, or, as we'll talk about more so, on set pieces. That's exactly what they did in the 21st minute. A ball played into the middle there from the corner kick. Great work from Este to win the first ball. Barcelona in this game were slack, and they didn't do their defensive due diligence there when it came to set pieces. And so when Este wins this first ball, it's a great header into a good area. And Dazel Dumfries, what a finish that was. I mean, a brilliant bicycle kick goal, very, very brave. It reminded me of a goal scored by Weston McKennie from Juventus a few years ago against Barcelona in the Champions League. This one was just brilliant, acrobatic, it was brave, it was a great finish, and at that point, Inter Milan were up 2-0. Barcelona were shell-shocked, they were frustrated, but with this Barcelona team, if there's anything that we can know about them is, one, they don't know how to quit, and they don't know how to give up. We've seen this team throughout the season against Real Madrid, against Celta Vigo, against Atletico, against Benfica. It doesn't matter who you are. This team, whether they're down by 1 goal or 2 goals, maybe even 3, they don't give up. And that's exactly what you saw from Barcelona. Going forward today, they were fantastic. They were pinning Inter back, they were creating little gaps, little openings, trying to play the ball across goal. Jan Sommer was doing very, very well to keep them out. And then step up Lamine Yamal. I mean, the goal he scores here is a Puskás-worthy goal. It really is. It's a sensational goal. He receives the ball. He first of all gets away from Marcos Thuram there, dribbles up, squares up his opponent, little body feint, slices past Mkhitaryan, takes on a further 2 players, gets into a shooting position, and it seems like he just almost freezes time, where he just shifts onto his left foot, he bends the ball, and it's such a perfect hit. It's curling, it's whipping, it just clips off the post and goes in. A beautiful goal, a work of art, a priceless moment. And that was Lamine Yamal on his 100th appearance for Barcelona. What a goal, what a player, and what a way to bring Barcelona back into the game. From that point on, Barcelona grew in confidence, they grew in stature, they seemed to understand what they were trying to do, they seemed to have weathered that storm from Inter Milan that when it came to dealing with them in transition, it was quite difficult. And then soon after, Ferran Torres gets the equalizer. And it's a brilliant bit of work by Pedri. Barca were moving the ball from side to side, moving Inter around, trying to find gaps. Pedri, with time and space on the ball, plays a wonderful, and I mean a terrific, lofted pass all the way to the back post. Raphinha does a fantastic job. It's a brilliant header right across the face of goal, and onto it there was Ferran Torres. He continues to score. He continues to fill in for Lewandowski when needed. Comes up with big goals, big moments. He did it against Real Madrid. He's done it here. He's done it against Atletico Madrid, Ferran Torres. And once more in a big game, he steps up when it mattered most. And Barca at that point had rescued a perilous situation from 2 goals down to 2-2. They were egging on for a goal to end the first half. They couldn't get it. And then we advance into the second half, and where Barcelona made the same mistakes. Set pieces. They did not deal with them well. There's a corner played in. Once more, it's Denzel Dumfries who's left completely open there. It's a free header. He gets a bit fortunate here as his header deflects off Dani Olmo, and that's what just took the ball away there from Szczesny. You could see him on the replay just trying to put out an arm. The ball kind of clips his arm as it goes through, but because of the deflection and the proximity, he couldn't really recover. At that point, it's Inter 3, Barcelona 2. And you're thinking, here we go again. Barcelona, having worked so hard to get back into the game, have they thrown it away all over again? And yet, like we've seen all season, this team does not know how to give up. Within a few moments, they have a set piece of their own. It's a really good ball played in by Dani Olmo. Lamine Yamal does so well to just dummy it, get out of the way. It falls to Raphinha, and my word, what a strike from the Brazilian. This was absolutely almost inch perfect, really. He's unfortunate not to get the goal in the end because it came off the crossbar, off the head of Jan Sommer and into the back of the net. But this was a tremendous strike by Raphinha, full of confidence, full of belief. And tonight, it wasn't his best display overall. But what I liked from Raphinha tonight was he wanted to make things happen. He didn't care how, he wanted to be involved, he wanted to make things happen. He wasn't scared to shoot tonight, and several times he was forcing Jan Sommer into saves, and one of our most proactive players going forward. Tonight was nothing different. He was proactive, he took the shot on, it took confidence and belief to do that. He had several good shots throughout the game, and on this occasion, it's a phenomenal strike. Clips off the crossbar, off of Jan Sommer, it goes in, it's 3-3. And from that point, it was a back and forth game. Inter Milan always looked dangerous there in transition. They were trying to find their moments. They were trying to find ways to get themselves ahead in the game. They nearly did. Mkhitaryan scored, but VAR, just by his toe, Mkhitaryan was offside there. And so Barcelona were trying themselves to go ahead. Fermín López came on as well. You had changes there, of course. There were injuries to Koundé and Lautaro Martinez for both teams. A potential injury for DeMarco. We don't fully have that confirmed yet, but both teams, of course, did suffer casualties in this game. And it seems like for Joe Koundé, he will miss the second leg. Unfortunately for him, Barcelona will have Balde back, but unlikely to have Lewandowski back as well. And it just felt like as we approached sort of the 70th, 80th minute, both teams, you could tell, were a bit tired. They put a lot into this game when it came to the intensity, when it came to the work rate. Both teams really in that first half and for the second half as well put on a blockbuster performance. Lamine Yamal, he was just sensational throughout the game. Absolutely brilliant. And he nearly won the game for Barcelona there towards the end. It was a brilliant little chip shot. It wasn't quite clear if he meant it or not, whether he was trying to find Raphinha at the back post or trying to shoot for himself. It was a wonderful, wonderful attempt. The ball just seemed to hang in the air. It seemed to take an age to come down, almost in slow motion, really, and it just clips the crossbar there. Barca so close to winning it towards the end there. And ultimately for Barcelona, from their perspective, of course, it's a draw. at home in the Champions League semifinal. Perhaps from their perspective, it's a missed opportunity. And I would say the same thing. I think being in this situation, you want to win these types of games. You want to put yourself in a commanding position. You saw what PSG were able to do last night, going to the Emirates and winning, and arguably could have won by more than one goal, of course. That's to be debated. But Barca tonight, I think as well, played very well. Of course, defensively, on set pieces, they do have to clean up because going away there to the Giuseppe Meazza, it's not going to be easy, especially with a 3-3 scoreline, Inter Milan at home with the fans behind them, one last push for them in their season. It's going to be a very, very tough game. So Barcelona have to clean up there in set pieces. They have to find a way there to replace Jules Koundé at right back as well. Baude, we'll see if he's able to start the second leg or whether he'll come off the bench. But Barcelona do have issues to work out themselves. Inter Milan as well, of course, likely Lautaro Martinez for the second leg as well, and we'll see what happens with Di Marco. But ultimately for Barcelona, it is not the worst result. It's 3-3, of course. They will very much believe that they are capable of going to the Giuseppe Meazza and getting the win. They've done it against Real Madrid. They've done it twice against Atletico Madrid. They've done it at Villarreal. And no doubt they'll be pushing to do it here as well. So Barcelona, of course, they'll be confident. They've gone to venues. We talked about those teams before. They've gone to Benfica as well and also been able to win there on 2 occasions. So this team will not be scared by the occasion. They will not be scared by the challenge that awaits them away from home. But for Barcelona tonight, at least, it's a missed opportunity. And they'll be looking to put things right in the second leg and book their place in the Champions League final. That'll be it for me from tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and take care. Visca Barça. We'll see you next week.